morning, everyone. As you are welcome here. Visitor, friend, or longtime member, you are welcome here. With little children, or your partner, or alone, we joyfully welcome you here. You are welcome here as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner. You are welcome here. Feeling a part of us or not, full of energy or not, seeking a rest or a vision, you are welcome to join us as you are. We acknowledge that we're in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish, Nez Perce, Blackfeet, and Anishinaabe people who shared the Helena Valley as hunting grounds. The indigenous story of the Helena Valley began long before the arrival of Europeans. We honor those who walked here before us. We honor the path they have shown us in caring for this place for generations to come. We strive for justice and fair relations with their descendants. We'll read the chalice lighting all together. Katie will light the chalice for us. Thank you. We join our voices in a holy communion of mind and heart, dedicated to the promises that bind us in compassion, one with another. In this hour, we light the flame that signals our intention to find the sacred in every living thing. Please stand as you're willing and able for our opening song, My Life Flows On, an Endless Song, number 108 in Singing the Living Tradition. Now we'll go to our opening words. We Speak the Language of Love by Reverend Erica Hewitt. It's the insert that's in your order of service. We arrive from many different experiences and backgrounds. Some of us have trouble speaking. Others are so young that they're still learning to talk. Some of us speak English as a second language, and others of us can speak several foreign languages. All of us share this in common. We speak the language of love. In the moments before worship begins, and again when we return to the service of life, we greet one another with kind words. We chat about the days behind us and days to come, and we speak the language of love. We lift our voices in song, not to sing perfectly or in tune, but to hear and feel our voices form a life-giving sound, and we speak the language of love. We form a web of compassionate listening when individuals among us, embodying vulnerability, name the fears that grip their hearts, the joys that buoy their spirits. We speak the language of love. At times, our voices clash. We disagree. Tension enters our voices as we make room for different beliefs, different opinions, different perspectives. Through it all, it's our intention that we speak the language of love. In this congregation, we welcome a multiplicity of truths and invite them to be named out loud. We prophesy, summoning the age when justice and peace will be evident all around us, and we speak the language of love. Let us worship together, making room for one another as whole beings, tender hearts, hungry spirits, and curious minds. With our actions and with our words, let us speak the language of love. Now is the time for our offering. It will be followed by thank you for your loving hands. Thank you for your gifts this day and for all the gifts of action that make this community possible. If you are visiting, please remain our guest. Your presence is your gift to us. Our story for all ages, The Rooster Who Would Not Be Quiet, which is a book I did a few years ago during a Zoom service, but since it was Zoom, it doesn't count. I get to do it again. Come on up, Harrison. I'll read you a story. You ever heard this one before? The Rooster Who Would Not Be Quiet. It's a good one. Once there was a village where the streets rang with song from morning till night. Dogs bayed, mothers crooned, engines hummed, fountains warbled, and everybody sang in the shower. Everyone and everything had a song to sing. This made the village of La Paz a very noisy place. It was hard to hear. It was hard to sleep. It was hard to think, and no one knew what to do. So they fired the mayor. You're fired. Now they were a very noisy village without a mayor. So they held an election. Only Don Pepe promised peace and quiet. He won by a landslide. The next day, a very polite law appeared in the village square. No loud singing in public, por favor. Things were getting better already. But soon, more laws followed. No loud singing at home. Then they crossed out at home, so it's no loud singing. They crossed out loud, so it's just no singing. And then, basta, quiet already. Until finally, the noisy village of La Paz was silent as a tomb. Even the tea kettles were afraid to whistle. Some people left the village, singing loudly. Others stayed behind and learned to hum. The rest were just grateful to have a good night's sleep, for crying out loud. 7 very quiet years passed. Then one evening, a saucy Gaito and his family wandered into the village and roosted in a fragrant mango tree. When the little rooster woke up the next morning, he did what roosters were born to do. He sang. As his rotten luck would have it, the mango tree grew beneath the cranky mayor's window. Uh-oh. "You there," groused Don Pepe. "No singing. It's the law." "Well, that's a silly law," said the merry Gaito. "Smell the sweet mango tree. How can I keep from singing?" "Huh, then I'll chop down that stinky tree," huffed Don Pepe. "Will you sing then?" The plucky Gaito shrugged. "I may sing a less cheerful song, but I will sing." And he did. There's his tree all chopped down. He's still singing. "Still singing?" snapped Don Pepe. "You have no tree, remember?" "I have no tree," said the Gaito. "But I have my hen and chicks. How can I keep from singing?" "Will you sing if I throw you in a cage, alone?" threatened Don Pepe. "I may sing a lonelier song," said the stubborn Gaito, "but I will sing." And he did. There he's in a cage all by himself. "Why are you singing now?" growled Don Pepe. "You have no hen and chicks." "No hen and chicks," the Gaito sighed. "But I still have corn to eat. How can I keep from singing?" "And if you have no more corn?" asked the mayor. "I may sing a hungrier song," said the headstrong Gaito, "but I will sing." And he did. "Aren't you hungry, you crazy bird?" wailed Don Pepe. "Claro, of course," said the Gaito. "But if the sun can still shine despite this world's troubles, how can I keep from singing?" "And if you never see the sun again," snarled the mayor, and he ran for a blanket to cover the rooster's cage. "I may sing a darker song," the brave Gaito called after him, "but I will sing." And he did. As the Gaito's song echoed down the soundless streets of La Paz, it stirred an old familiar longing for a time when everyone and everything had a song to sing. Not so with Don Pepe. Singing gave him indigestion. The next day, Don Pepe stumbled out to the yard in his nightshirt. He tore away the blanket and pleaded. "You have no tree to roost in, no hen and chicks to comfort you, no grain to fill your belly, no sun to drive away the shadows. Why, oh why are you still singing? Promise to stop and I will set you free." One by one, a quiet crowd began to gather in Don Pepe's yard. "I sing for those who dare not sing, or have forgotten how," said the Gaito. "If I must sing for them as well, senor, how can I keep from singing?" "And if I have made you into a soup," the mayor thundered, "I suppose you will still sing if you are dead?" The entire village held its breath, waiting for the Gaito's reply. "Dead roosters sing no songs," he said. "Ha!" crowed Don Pepe, sure that he had won. "But a song is louder than one noisy little rooster, and stronger than one bully of a mayor," said the Gaito, "and it will never die, so long as there is someone to sing it." And there was. Everyone in the whole village started singing the rooster's song. Chased that mayor right out of town. Once again, there was a village where the streets rang with song from morning till night. This made for a very noisy place to live, and that's just the way everyone liked it. The end. Now we'll have a prayer, Invocation to the Spirit of Life, by Reverend Alex Jensen. Spirit of life and love, Holy God, Source eternal, in our midst yet still ever so elusive, to breathe your sacred name is a blessing. Your will be done here on earth, inspired by our aspirations to do and be better people. May we have all that we need to survive, live, and thrive. Remind us to be gentle. May we love mercy and kindness, recalling the times when we've fallen short ourselves. Call us to be firm. May we not be tempted to follow selfish motivations or reside in our narrow privileges, unexamined and uninterrogated. Move us to counter and overcome evil and injustice in ourselves, our lives, and institutions. Yours is the beloved community, the fire of commitment in our hearts, and the spirit of generosity and abundance, now and always. Amen. Now please rise as you're willing and able for Spirit of Life, number 123 in the Open Your Heart Songbook. Singing Living Tradition, sorry. Fairly brief message, what we can do for religion today, adapted from an essay by Holly Ann Lux Sullivan. In a Barnes & Noble just before Easter, I watched a woman glance at a table of books and make a face like she just tasted something awful. Then she hurried on by as if she were afraid of the books would bite. Curiously, I looked to see what she had grimaced at. All the books on the table were about religion, primarily Christianity. They had titles like Misquoting Jesus and What Jesus Really Meant. All I could think was, is this what we've done to God? Is that what we've done to religion? Is American religion today in such a sad state that when someone sees a table full of religion books in a bookstore, she scurries away and looks like she's going to be sick? The answer is yes, this is what we've done to religion. Then there are those who, despite an unfortunate experience with, say, homophobia in a mainstream Christian church, are still open to the idea of church. They're still seeking. And maybe have heard enough about Unitarian Universalism to think maybe it could be a denomination where they'd be welcome, regardless of sexual orientation or gender. So this too is what we've done to God and religion. It heartens me immensely to know that our faith is known as welcoming and inviting, open to all without discrimination or fear of rejection. But I see non-Christian Unitarian Universalists acting like we are superior to Christians, as though we're more mature because we don't believe in Jesus or the Christian God. Unintentionally, I found myself becoming a champion of Christianity. There's a discomfort with who we are that leads many of us to wholly discount its value. In many cases, our personal and collective religious histories inspire this discomfort. It has to do with many of us coming out of Christian backgrounds after having actively unpleasant experiences. Many of us have our own demons to fight, our own brokenness to heal, before we can accept our personal histories with Christianity or Unitarian Universalism's roots in it. Individually, we have to step into the darkness of our religious experiences and dwell there. See what's uncomfortable there, what hurts, what needs healing, and what needs to be let go of. Work on it. By doing so, we're opening ourselves to old and possibly new pains. But we're also healing Unitarian Universalism, one UU and one congregation at a time. And then there's that pesky part of our principles and purposes that says our tradition draws from many sources, including, quote, Jewish and Christian teachings, which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as ourselves. We draw from Jewish and Christian teachings which call us to respond to love. Until and unless we change that statement from principles and purposes, our religious heritage is intact and is explicitly something we look to for guidance and wisdom. What's difficult, of course, is that loving our neighbors means we have to try to love everyone, not just the neighbors who agree with us. The Dalai Lama suggests how to get past anger after a disagreement. He says to remember that the person you're angry with is human, like yourself, and has similar fears and hopes. By trying to connect to a common humanity, you might be able to let go of some of the anger. Being hopefully realistic in the face of adversity is also what we can do for religion today. An acquaintance of mine, who was also a UU, said once that a relative of hers who works for the Secret Service is the only person she knows who thinks Dick Cheney is a nice guy. She laughed at how ludicrous the idea was, but hearing how smug she sounded, I had to ask, is that Secret Service agent the only person you know who has actually met Dick Cheney? This, too, is what my faith does for me and through me. It forces me to point out hypocrisy and to humbly accept when my own is pointed out. I didn't like sticking up for Dick Cheney, but I have difficulty swallowing that it's okay to be prejudiced as long as your prejudice agrees with my own. Recognizing hypocrisy and working to eliminate it from our own lives and interactions is what we can do for religion today. I once read an article on the differences between those who practice nonviolent communication and those who don't. As an illustration, the author talked about the natures of jackals and giraffes. Jackals are aggressors, always suspicious, on the hunt and looking for their next kill. Their view of the world is through slitted red eyes. So jackal communicators are out to hear themselves talk and get their points made. They react first with anger, then, maybe, with thought. More likely, a jackal communicators will argue until their opponent gives up, and most anyone they interact with is considered an opponent. Giraffes, on the other hand, are gentle herbivores. Their long necks allow them to peer at things up close and to pull back for a wider view. So giraffe communicators listen. They think quietly about what they're hearing, and they try to see what the need of the person they're talking to isn't being met. Giraffes put the other ahead of themselves. They take a few breaths, consider the other, and work to be gentle and thoughtful. Even when facing a jackal communicator, giraffes respond with compassion. Though it may be difficult to get someone who disagrees with my political or religious beliefs in a room with me, when I do, I can work to be a giraffe communicator rather than a jackal, even when I come up against a jackal instead of the gentle giraffe I'm hoping for. Reaching across the political and philosophical gulf in religious and public discourse is what we can do for religion today. It is what religion needs us to do. To be able to live our faith, we have to know and understand our faith. Seems pretty basic, but we're a denomination whose members are diverse in culture, belief, and passion, and lots of us have come to Unitarian Universalism because it feels right to us. I know I signed my first church's membership book before I'd really mulled over the UU principles and purposes. I imagine that's true for others as well. I encourage each of us to sit down with the principles and purposes to see what we think about them. Do I agree with them? Which do I take to heart more than others? Let's figure out what we believe so that when we are actively shaping our liberal faith in the world, we know what it is we're shaping. And while we're figuring out what we believe, consider this. We pride ourselves on being a faith that is welcoming to many beliefs and theologies, as we should. But in doing so, we also often emphasize what makes us different from those in the pews beside us, instead of emphasizing what brings us together. As we examine our personal faiths and learn to better articulate them, we can look for commonalities in them, those elements of our individual beliefs that weave us together in the fabric of Unitarian Universalism. Recognizing and celebrating our common values is what we can do for religion today. Make it well known that the way you live your life is based on Unitarian Universalism. We're already in our communities, ministering in dozens of ways, volunteering with Habitat for Humanity, working at rape crisis centers, writing letters to the editor. We can say, I do this because I'm a Unitarian Universalist, and I believe that we are all interconnected and that every life has value. Whatever is true for you, however your Unitarian Universalism affects your daily activities and interactions, tell people. We aren't going to be perfect Unitarian Universalist representatives all the time. Neither are public Christians of any political stripe perfect representatives of Christianity. Nor are Muslims, Buddhists, or Jews perfect representatives of their faiths all the time. So let's just rid ourselves of that pressure from the get-go. Live your life tomorrow as you are today, but tomorrow, if you aren't already, make sure you tell others how faith shapes your life. We must declare our liberal religious beliefs as we take political action instead of simply cringing when we hear those on the religious right make sweeping statements about religion in America that don't apply to us. We have to stop being afraid to talk about going to church because of what our non-church going friends and acquaintances might think. The religious right has hijacked the language of faith in the U.S., and it's long past time that we take it back. Be proud to be a voice of liberal religion. Don't let notions about what a religious person in the United States sounds like stop you from putting your voice out there. The voice of the faithful in America sounds like us too. In truth, we do lots of things right, and we can challenge ourselves and each other to do more. Learn about and then make peace with our denominational religious history and with our personal religious histories. Be realistic but hopeful in the face of adversity. Recognize hypocrisy and work to eliminate it from your lives and interactions. When possible, reach across the political and philosophical gulf in religious and public discourse. Recognize and celebrate when you have in common with the people beside you in the pew. Evangelize about Unitarian Universalism's good news. Add your voice to the collective voice of America's faithful. Doing all these things for a religion on a daily basis isn't humanly possible. But we can recognize the ways that our Unitarian Universalism shapes our lives and then make sure others see that too. Speaking out proudly and strongly for Unitarian Universalism may be the most important thing we can do for religion today. May it be so. Now we're going to break up into our small groups. It looks like we have enough to do 3 different groups. 2 might be a little. What to do? Is 2 groups too many in a group? What do you think? Left side and right side groups?
If we do 3, then we participate more.
Okay.
And if we count off, then we split up couples, which is a good thing.
Sure. Let's count off by 3s. We'll start with Katie. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1.
3.
Get together with your groups.
And you have questions for us.
Yes, there's questions in the order of service. Those are suggestions. You can definitely take the conversation above and beyond there. I would ask you to address the questions first.